Chapter 11. As everyone put their religion books away and got out calculators and pencils for math, Jessica reached under her seat for her pencil case. Her fingers fumbled a bit in it, and as she leaned over to peer into the case, a pencil and a photograph fell out of it. The photo landed face up near the foot of my desk. "Oh," she said. She reached for it, but it was nearer to me. I lifted the picture from the floor. It was an odd size, almost exactly a square. It was a picture of a girl. She was short and pretty and blonde, and looking straight into the camera. Propped on her left shoulder was a tennis racket. Behind her stood a man in a white sweater and shorts. He had a big smile on his face. Squarely behind them both was a big shingled building that looked like a fancy beach club in the summer. The right side of the photo, next to the man, was clipped off, but my eyes were drawn to the girl. Her eyebrows were cocked at a slight angle, and her eyes were big and beautiful. Her lips were half curved in a little cute smile. "Who is she?" I found myself asking at the same time a shiver went right up my back. For a split second, it occurred to me that the picture might actually be of her. That girl might be Jessica. Idiot. How could I blurt out, "Who's she?" I began to feel really nervous again, but I tried to make it pass. It couldn't be her. This girl was smaller, much smaller. With my hand trembling, I started to give it back. But Kayla stopped me, practically lunging at my hand and stopping it. "Oh my gosh," she whispered. "Is that her?" Her? My stomach began to roll now, and I thought I was going to be sick all over the place. "You idiot. Jessica's right here." "Here," I said, trying to hand it back again, but Kayla wouldn't let go of my wrist. It was insane. This little girl was holding on to me. Mrs. Tracy was talking intently with Darlene and Dave now, and then began digging in the bookshelves under the window, and didn't notice what was going on. Samantha Embriano suddenly rose from her desk to look at the picture now. Rich Downing was sliding out of his seat, too. "Hey, that's the guy that picks you up," said Rich, pointing his finger at the man in the picture. "But at least talking to Jessica. That's your father, isn't it?" Jessica said nothing, so I said, "Maybe. Here." I still tried to move my hand. "It's my sister," said Jessica quietly, reaching for the photo. "That's my sister, Anne." We were all quiet. Her sister? That was the first we'd heard about a sister. Not that we'd ever asked her anything. "Anne," said Kayla. "Cool." Samantha Embriano suddenly said something completely out of nowhere, but it was kind of good. "I used to play tennis. That's a good racket she's got there. You can tell from the P on the face of it." She practically touched the photograph. "I know, because my tennis teacher has one like that." "You have a tennis teacher?" Rich asked. "Since the 3rd grade," she said. "Your sister's really cute," said Kayla, finally releasing my hand. Her sister, Anne. I don't know what Jessica thought about all of this. Since we were all bunched so close together, it was impossible to look at her without seeming to stare her in the face. Plus, her head was down, so it was hard to figure out what she was thinking. But I know what I was thinking. I was thinking that she probably couldn't believe any of this. I couldn't believe it. All these words at once. It was more than anyone had spoken to her since she came to our class. So many words. And I knew why. We had all been waiting so long for things to be more normal again. It was what everybody felt when Jessica wasn't in school for a day. Only this was 100 times better. We didn't have to pretend she didn't exist. We suddenly found a regular thing about her, her sister. Her sister wasn't burned. Anne was a normal girl, a really cute girl, in fact. And now that we saw this picture and we knew about her, and we had found out another thing about Jessica, lots of things, in fact, normal things that we could think about and talk about. Tennis, the beach club, summer vacation, their father, about anything. It was as if someone had opened a window in a hot room and cool air was rushing in over us. Jessica hadn't moved during all of this and said nothing, but I almost felt happy for her. Wouldn't it be so much easier this way? We could show that we could be friends with Jessica by being interested in her sister. This was it. We could almost be normal again. Cool, I said, reaching over to give the photo back. Suddenly, it was Rich's turn to be the idiot. He said something so incredibly simple, but right away, everything I had just been thinking began to fall apart. She looks like maybe she's in 5th grade, he said. Is she in one of the downstairs classes? It was quiet for a moment. Everyone was quiet, waiting for her to answer. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Jeff sitting facing away from us, his legs sticking out between the 2nd and 3rd rows. Then Kayla asked, "Does she have Mr. McDonald? My brother would know her." I gave Jessica the picture back finally. When I did, her hand sort of brushed against mine. It was rough. A jolt of something electric went straight down my back to my legs. It felt as if a skeleton had just tapped my shoulder. She put the photo back in her pencil case and then gripped the zipper with her thumb and first finger and pulled. "Is she in his class?" Kayla asked, looking at each of us. "She's not here," said Jessica. Her voice was unsteady. I felt cold again. Seeing Jessica fumbling to close the pencil case, I just wanted the questions to stop now. But everybody was looking at her. When Rich spoke again, it was the end of it. "Where is she?" he asked, glancing over at Jeff, who was still leaning back, saying nothing. Jessica pulled the zipper closed. "She died." The words were almost inaudible, but it felt as if all the air was pulled out of me when she said them. Without waiting, she stood up and went to the teacher and said something to her. "Hey, wait a minute," Rich said to us. "That's not fair. I didn't do anything wrong. I just asked her where she was. I didn't know anyone was dead. Who cares if her dumb sister's dead? I mean, she better not say anything about me." But nothing happened. Mrs. Tracy didn't even look over at Rich or Kayla or me or the others going back to their seats. It was like it didn't involve us. Mrs. Tracy nodded, and Jessica left the classroom.